Welcome to Brainwaves, your go-to source for all things fascinating and thought-provoking. On today's episode, we'll be exploring the exciting world of Greek mythology and discussing our favorite Greek gods. The ancient Greeks believed in a pantheon of gods and goddesses who controlled virtually every aspect of human life, from fertility and agriculture to war and the underworld. These gods were larger-than-life figures who were worshipped and feared by the people of ancient Greece. Join us as we take a trip back in time and uncover the stories behind some of the most fascinating and powerful gods in all of mythology. Zeus was the king of the gods in ancient Greek mythology. He was the god of the sky and thunder, and was often depicted with a lightning bolt in his hand. The son of Kronos and Rhea, Zeus was born in the island of Crete and was brought up by a goat named Amalthea. As the king of the gods, Zeus had supreme power over all gods and mortals alike. He was responsible for the governance of the world and made decisions that affected the lives of everyone. According to ancient legends, Zeus had a great temper and was known for his fierceness. He would often involve himself in battles and conflicts among the gods and mortals, and would emerge victorious each time. One of the most notable characteristics of Zeus is his association with thunder and lightning. He was believed to control the lightning bolts that struck the earth during thunderstorms, giving him immense destructive power. In mythology, Zeus used his lightning bolts as a weapon, aiming and throwing them at his enemies. This showed the might and power he held over all others. It was said that his lightning bolts were so powerful, they could even strike down mortal beings. The lightning bolt was also a symbol of his authority and was often used as a representation of Zeus in art and literature. The combination of Zeus and lightning made him a god to be revered and feared. The power and force behind his lightning strikes reinforced his position as the king of the gods. There are numerous stories and myths that involve Zeus in Greek mythology. One popular tale is the story of the Titanomachy, the great war between the gods and Titans. In this war, Zeus helped the gods to defeat the Titans and emerge as the leader of the gods. This story highlights Zeus's strategic skills and portrays him as a just and powerful force. Another well-known story involves a god named Prometheus, who gave fire to humanity despite Zeus's warnings not to. In retaliation, Zeus punished Prometheus and mortals by sending a woman named Pandora with a jar full of evils. This story showcases Zeus's ability to control and manipulate the fates of both gods and mortals. One more interesting story is the myth of Leda and the swan, in which Zeus transformed into a swan in order to seduce Leda. This story shows Zeus's cunning and unpredictable nature. Overall, these myths and stories illustrate the complex character of Zeus and his significance in Greek mythology. Apollo was the Greek god of music and poetry, and was considered the protector and leader of the Muses. As the patron god of music, he was often depicted with a lyre, a stringed musical instrument that he played to entertain the gods. It is said that Apollo was taught to play the lyre by Hermes, who in turn was taught by the god Apollo. Apollo was also known for his beautiful voice, and was often depicted singing with his lyre. Musicians and poets would honor Apollo by dedicating their work to him, in the hopes of receiving inspiration and guidance from the god of music and poetry. In addition to being the god of music and poetry, Apollo was also the god of prophecy and oracles. Temples were built in Apollo's honor throughout Greece, and it was believed that he would communicate with the priests and priestesses who lived there. These special people were known as oracles, and they would often give advice and guidance to those seeking answers to their questions about the future. The most famous oracle was the Oracle of Delphi, located in central Greece. The Oracle of Delphi was considered the most accurate source of prophecy and prediction, and visitors would come from far and wide to seek answers from the oracle. The prophecies were often given in riddles, and it was up to the visitor to interpret their meaning. Apollo's role as the god of prophecy and oracles made him one of the most feared and respected gods in ancient Greece. Although Apollo was primarily known for his talents in music, poetry, prophecy, and healing, he was also a skilled warrior. One of his most powerful weapons was his bow and arrows, which he used for hunting and warfare. According to legend, Apollo was granted his bow and arrows by Zeus himself, making them incredibly powerful weapons. In fact, It was said that Apollo never missed his mark when he was aiming with his bow and arrows. He was also known to have led armies into battle, where his archery skills would frequently turn the tide of the battle. Apollo's skill as a warrior and archer made him a formidable foe, and he was often feared by his enemies. Athena was one of the 12 Olympian gods and goddesses in Greek mythology, daughter of Zeus and his first wife, the Titaness Medea. Medea was known for her wisdom and intelligence, and it was prophesied that any child she bore would inherit her gifts and become more powerful than their father. Fearing this, Zeus tricked Medea into turning herself into a fly and then swallowed her whole, but not before she had conceived Athena. Athena was then born fully formed from Zeus's head, armored for battle and holding a spear, according to myth. This made her unique among the Olympians, who were usually born from the union of male and female gods. Athena was also given the gift of wisdom and intelligence, due to her mother's influence. Athena is often depicted with an owl, which symbolizes wisdom, as she was considered the goddess of wisdom, war, and crafts. She was also associated with the city of Athens, which was named in her honor after she slew the monstrous serpent, Cecrops. Her symbol, the owl, would later become the symbol of the city of Athens, and her image was featured on the city's coins. In addition to being a goddess of war, Athena was also known for her wisdom and intelligence. She served as a mentor to heroes like Odysseus, Perseus, and Jason, providing strategic advice and guidance. Athena was also the patron goddess of craftspeople, particularly weavers and potters. She was said to have invented the plow and taught humans how to work with wool and make clothing. Athena was seen as a model for how women should behave in ancient Greek society, encouraging them to be intelligent and skilled with crafts, while also strong and disciplined. Athena played a significant role in many myths and legends, reflecting her importance to ancient Greek culture. In one myth, she competed against Poseidon to become the patron goddess of Athens. The two agreed to create a gift for the city, and whichever gift was deemed more valuable would determine the winner. Poseidon created a spring of salt water, but Athena created the olive tree, which proved to be more useful to the people of Athens. Thus, Athena became the patron goddess of Athens. Athena's wisdom also led her to create the Parthenon, one of the most iconic structures of ancient Greece. The temple was dedicated to Athena and served as a monument to her intellect and strength. The Parthenon stood as a symbol of Athens' power for centuries and remains an architectural marvel. Athena was also a goddess of war, but unlike Ares, the god of war, Athena embodied strategic warfare, discipline, and military tactics. Athena was a skilled fighter and often led armies into battle, most notably during the Trojan War, where she supported the Greeks. She was said to have been a champion in battles, defeating giants and monsters, and defending both gods and humans. As the goddess of war and defender of civilization, Athena was often called upon to protect cities from enemies, and her famous shield was said to be impenetrable. According to legend, Athena carried her shield into battle to protect her favorite city, Athens, which was her birthplace and the city that she deemed most worthy of her protection. Athena's role as a goddess of war and wisdom made her one of the most respected deities in ancient Greek society, embodying both the intellectual and physical strengths that were highly valued in that time. Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, is a fascinating and complex figure in mythology. His origin story is shrouded in mystery, but it is commonly believed that Hades was the oldest son of Cronus and Rhea. According to legend, Cronus, fearful that he would be overthrown by one of his children, swallowed all of his offspring as soon as they were born. However, Rhea managed to hide Hades from her husband, and he grew up in secret, eventually emerging as a powerful and formidable figure. Hades was eventually granted the underworld as his domain, and it was there that he ruled over the dead. He was often depicted as a stern and austere figure, feared and respected by both mortals and gods alike. In addition to his role as Lord of the Dead, Hades also had the power to cause earthquakes and other natural disasters. In fact, the ancient Greeks believed that earthquakes were caused by the god's movements beneath the earth's surface. Despite his fearsome reputation, Hades was not an evil deity. Rather, he was a complex figure, one that embodied both the darker and more positive aspects of the human experience. He was associated with death and decay, but also with the fertile soil that nourished life. Moreover, he was also a just judge, presiding over the souls of the dead and ensuring that they were treated fairly according to their deeds and life. All of these qualities, both positive and negative, contributed to Hades' enduring legacy in Greek mythology and beyond. Hades is perhaps best known for the symbols and objects that are associated with him in Greek mythology. The most iconic of these is his helmet, which was said to render him invisible and which he wore at all times. The helmet not only made Hades invisible to mortal eyes, it also protected him from harm, allowing him to move freely through the underworld without fear of attack. Another important symbol of Hades was his scepter or staff, which he used to control the souls of the dead. With his scepter, he could summon the spirits of the dead and command them to do his bidding. It was said that when Hades struck his scepter on the ground, dead souls would be drawn out of the earth to come before him. In addition to these two items, Hades was also commonly associated with the color black, which served as a symbol of death and decay. Moreover, he was often depicted riding a chariot drawn by black horses, which added to his ominous and powerful image. All of these symbols and objects helped to cement Hades' place as one of the most recognizable and imposing figures in Greek mythology. Hades' role in Greek mythology was as the ruler of the underworld, where he presided over the souls of the dead. It was his responsibility to ensure that the dead were properly taken care of and that their souls were judged fairly before being sent to their final destinations. Hades' domain included not only the underworld itself, but also the Elysian Fields, a paradise reserved for the souls of the most virtuous and heroic individuals. Those who had not lived good lives were sent to the Asphodel Meadows, a neutral region where they would spend the rest of eternity wandering aimlessly. In addition to his role as a judge and guardian of the dead, Hades was also associated with riches and wealth. The Greeks believed that vast treasures were buried beneath the earth, and it was believed that Hades was the guardian of these riches. Despite his reputation as a fearsome and imposing figure, Hades was an important and necessary part of Greek mythology. His domain of the underworld symbolized the cycle of life and death, and it was his responsibility to ensure that this cycle continued in a fair and just manner. Poseidon is one of the 12 Olympian gods in Greek mythology. He is known as the god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses. The story of Poseidon goes back to ancient Greek mythology. He was born to the Titans Cronus and Rhea. Cronus was known for his fear of being overthrown, so he swallowed Poseidon and his siblings to prevent this from happening. However, when Zeus was born, Rhea tricked Cronus and hid Zeus away. Zeus eventually defeated his father and freed his siblings, including Poseidon. This marked the beginning of Poseidon's rule over the sea, which he shared with his brother Zeus and Hades. Poseidon was a versatile god, and was renowned for his strength, power, and temper. He was often depicted with his signature trident, which he used to create earthquakes and control the sea. It was said that whenever he struck the ground with his trident, earthquakes would arise. His other signature item was a chariot pulled by horses. These horses were so powerful, they could create earthquakes just by stomping their hooves. Poseidon is also associated with many mythical sea creatures, such as the sea serpent and the giant squid, which were often portrayed in Greek art and literature. Despite his power, Poseidon was also known for his volatile temper, and stories abound of him taking revenge on mortal men who slighted or angered him. Poseidon is a popular subject in Greek art and literature. Depictions of Poseidon in art often show him holding his trident or riding his horses. He is also sometimes portrayed as a muscular, bearded man with long hair. One famous depiction of Poseidon is the statue of him in the National Archaeological Museum of Athens. The statue shows Poseidon standing upright, holding his trident in his right hand, and with his left hand raised, as if commanding the sea. This statue is a testament to the influence of Poseidon in Greek culture, and his role as the god of the sea. Poseidon has also inspired many works of literature. One of the most famous examples is Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey. In the Odyssey, Poseidon is a major character, and his wrath towards the protagonist Odysseus leads to many obstacles and challenges for the hero to overcome. Another famous story featuring Poseidon is the tale of Theseus and the Minotaur. In this myth, Poseidon helps Theseus defeat the Minotaur by revealing the way out of the labyrinth. In addition to these myths, there are many other stories in which Poseidon plays a prominent role. The power and influence of this powerful god can be seen throughout Greek mythology and culture. Poseidon is known for his immense power and his ability to control the sea and cause earthquakes. He was one of the three most powerful gods in Greek mythology, along with his brothers Zeus and Hades. One of Poseidon's most notable powers is his control over the sea. It was said that he could calm the sea with a single gesture, and that he could cause storms and violent waves at will. He was also the god of earthquakes, and his trident was said to cause earthquakes whenever he struck the ground with it. These powers made Poseidon feared and respected by sailors and coastal communities alike. It was believed that if Poseidon was displeased, he could send storms or shipwrecks and cause great harm to ships at sea. Some stories even link Poseidon with the creation of entire islands or the destruction of entire continents. In addition to his powers over the sea and earthquakes, Poseidon was also known for his ability to control horses. He was the god of horses and horse racing, and was often depicted riding his horses or driving his chariot pulled by powerful sea horses. Given his power and versatility, it's easy to see why Poseidon was one of the most important gods in the Greek pantheon. And that brings us to the end of our discussion about some of our favorite Greek gods. We hope you've enjoyed learning about these larger-than-life figures who were worshipped and feared by the people of ancient Greece. Despite their incredible power and abilities, these gods and goddesses were often imperfect and flawed, just like the humans who worshipped them. But whether you see them as symbols of a bygone era or as timeless representations of the human condition, it's hard to deny the enduring appeal of the Greek gods. Thanks for joining us on Brainwaves today. Be sure to like and subscribe for more fascinating content like this.